Orrin Lesmeister reaches down for a fistful of light brown grass. A dry clump of dirt easily comes up with it.
Right after 4th of July, typically we'll start haying this ground here. And it's gore green, it's got a lot of alfalfa in it, grass, hay mix, native grass mix. And this year you can kind of see what it's like, and then it's just dead dry.
As we stand in his field, wind rushes in from a low-pressure system of dark rain clouds that blanket the sky, skirting around his property. The radar makes it look like Dewey County could get rain, but not a drop has fallen near him, instead landing farther north.
And you think, boy, Dewey County's finally getting some rain, parade area and stuff. And the reality is, we got nothing. I mean, it's just, we didn't get a sprinkle. It's been that way for months now.
Lesmeister spends part of his year in Pierre as a state lawmaker. He knows the issues in agriculture as a legislator and a rancher. He points to a land dam that should be full of water, but only has some stagnant moisture in it.
Well, normally this would be plumb full of water. You can tell that last fall it was already starting to drop really rapid and go dry, as you can see the different weeds and grasses growing up in the bottom here already. Yeah, typically this is completely full of water all the way back to the hills, and you can see where the water line has gotten up to in the past at the high level marks where the cut banks are there. And this is what we're up against.
And right now, his cows are drinking rural water. That's costing him more money. Lesmeister says this drought really started last September. He says some snow in October helped, but melted off quickly. The area got some spring showers, but nothing substantial. Drier conditions are leading some ranchers to thin their herds just to make it through the year. Baxter Anders is a co-owner of the Belfouche Livestock Market sale barn. He says the last week of June in 2020, they sold about 300 cattle. This year, that same week, they sold 10 times more cattle, 3,400 head in a week.
We just keep seeing more cattle coming, and coming from a big area too.
Anders says for ranchers west of Belfouche, this is a second year of drought conditions.
That's kind of why it's increased in sales, and I think that's part of people's thinking in some ways is, some people are holding on because maybe it is a little early yet, and hopes that maybe the rain will come.
But the outlook for relief from drought conditions is slim. Laura Edwards is the state climatologist.
Really, I don't think we can overstate how severe extreme the conditions are right now, and they're going to be holding strong through the next month.
Edwards says this year's drought is bringing consistent evidence of how a changing climate affects weather. In the northern plains, there are big swings in extremes.
2 years ago, from 2019, we had record wet conditions, and now we're in very dry conditions. We've seen this not too long in history. 2011 was very wet, 2012 very dry. So I think these big swings and extremes are really kind of a story that we're going to be living here for a while.
Edwards says South Dakota does see a general long-term trend of wetter and warmer conditions, but that won't help right now. Scott Edoff is the president of the South Dakota Stock Growers Association. He says many ranchers know if they see 2 wet years in a row, a drought is on the way.
If you are patient and you realize that this is in a cycle, it's a life cycle. It's not something really bad, but it's a life cycle, and if you're prepared for it, you can expand, and there's a lot of opportunity there too.
Back in Dewey County, rancher Orrin Lesmeister drives north on some pasture, looking at the elusive rain clouds. He says being ready for changing weather conditions sounds smart, but it can take years for ranchers to build back their herd.
I'm fortunate enough to have rural water here. A lot of people have it. A lot of people have wells and different things that they'll fall back on, rely on instead of just stock dams. But there's going to be areas though, right out far lying areas that they don't have that option. When their dams go dry, even if they have a little grass left, they're going to have to do something with their cows.
The state is stepping in to offer a bit of drought support for farmers and ranchers. Governor Kristi Noem is issuing an executive order that extends the time frame hay haulers can move hay to 2 hours before sunrise and after sunset. She says that will increase access to hay for farmers and ranchers. I'm SDPB's Lee Strubinger in Parade.